I guess this concept, the idea of bringing people together, came about with discussions with a few friends, one of which is here, my dear friend Lindy. And we talked about not just the losses that I had to live through, but in general. And a dear friend of mine in the States said, imagine if we knew as much about mental health as we do about cancer. And I had to think about that one. And the truth is, we all think we're aware of mental health, of depression, suicides, but we find out, as I did, that much of our knowledge is littered with the stigma. So if I can, let's start this game to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, how unknowingly or indirectly we are affected by the stigma. So if you don't mind, just please go along and raise your hands. And when you hear something that you hadn't known before, please put your hands down. Fair enough? Okay. Put your hands up, please. There are 3,000 suicides a year in Australia. It's the #1 killer for males in the age bracket between 14 to 45. In the last 10 years, suicide has risen by nearly a third. In the last 10 years, for the age bracket between 50 to 65, it's nearly rose by 2/3. There are 8 suicides per day. There are 8 attempts to suicide per day. Of the 3,000 lives that we lose through to suicide, 2/3 of them are men. There are roughly 2.5 times more deaths from suicide than by road accidents. Yeah. Same. Look around. Not that many arms up. It's amazing. The stats are shocking. Thank you. In fact, in this 3 hours or so that you'll be with us, maybe more, we'll lost 1 soul to suicide. Or 24 people would have tried. The point I want to make is that this awareness that I thought I had, again, was littered and encumbered with this stigma. And if that's true, if the stigma is actually part of my awareness, I don't think I could engage. Because if you think about those numbers, it's very daunting. Suicide, let's face it, it's very daunting. But ironically, as daunting as it is and as frightening as it is, it's one of the few illnesses that we as individuals can make a difference. The reality is also, I will never be able to come up with a drug to cure depression and anxiety. I will never be able to save everyone who comes from suicide. But collectively, as a village, if we embark on this journey to unlearn this stigma that was embedded on us since childhood. Some of it's indirect when we play sports. You gotta win. Don't cry. Don't be vulnerable. Vulnerability is bad. Crock of shit. No other way to put it. Anyway, we all can play a vital role, and we all really can truly reduce the stigma. And PROP is, or people reaching out to people. A good friend of mine, Susan, gave me that acronym. Is a basic principle in humanity. That's about looking after yourself, looking after loved ones, And more importantly, asking yourself a very fundamental question: is everything okay? Sometimes it really is that simple. Anyway, to help us along, we have some really great speakers. They're going to speak to you their journeys that led them to where they are now as icons in this fight towards awareness, in this fight against the stigma. I'm hugely honored when I spoke with them and said, would you mind, look, I got an idea. I want to bring friends together using friendship on this principle of humanity. Would you mind speaking? And to my honor, they said yes.